A few weeks ago, I got an email from someone which went something like this. Hey, I am applying for ISB this year, but I really don't have time. I want you to write my essays. Also, I'm in a rush, so please reply soon. Hi everyone, welcome to Insider Gyan. My name is Somi. I'm an IIT Delhi and ISB Hyderabad grad, and for the last 8 to 9 years, I have been working in banking and management consulting. And on this channel, I share my life and college and job experiences with you guys, as well as I bring some of my friends to share their experiences as well, so that you can take away something from it for your jobs, for your careers, life, etc. So if that's something that interests you, please subscribe to the channel. Okay, so coming to today's video. In this digital world, I feel like we are constantly writing emails to each other. It's like an integral part of our life, and yet it's amazing to see how many people don't put much thought into drafting their emails. And I get it. When we just start working, it's not easy for us to know what should go in the email versus, how much we can clarify offline itself. So I thought I'll share some of the best practices according to me and a few tips and sort of a template that is going to help you in drafting good emails. Now, there are two types of emails, honestly. One is where the other person sort of knows you and you probably work with that person, or you have already provided him some context, or you want something from that person. It could be your boss, it could be your friend, whoever. And there's this whole other category of cold emails, okay? And cold emails can work wonders. These emails are emails that you write to people who you don't know at all. The other person doesn't know anything about you. So naturally, in those emails, to sort of provide some context and tell the other person about you needs a little more work. So maybe I'll create two different videos on each of these topics. Today's video, I'm going to focus mainly on the first type, which is more tactical kind of emails, mostly in a work environment. So what are some of the things that you want to ensure your email does? Firstly, whoever you're sending it to needs to open that email. If it's a busy person and he gets like hundreds of emails every day, there's a good likelihood that he's not even going to open all of his emails. After he or she has opened, you want that person to go through your email quickly, and if it's like a wordy email, then he should be able to grasp the key points which are most important for him. And lastly, if it's important enough for him to give you a reply, he needs to reply back to you. So you always write an email keeping all these actions in mind from the next person. So to open an email, what is the most important thing? The subject line. Sabse pehle to I want you guys to always put a subject line. It's the most basic thing, and yet a lot of emails I get have no subject. If you ever get an email without a subject, doesn't it look spammy to you? It does, right? When you are writing a normal work email, I would recommend to put in the crux of the email in your subject in a very punchy line, जिसको पढ़ के ही दूसरे इंसान को समझ आ जाए what this email is going to be about. So make the subject line to the point. Try to give some context in those few words. And also definitely don't use words like urgent, reply back. Those kind of qualifiers are really not needed in a subject line. Next, let's come to the body of the email. So obviously body mein sabse pehle you are going to start with some greeting. I've seen that in Indian context, a lot of times we write, Dear Somi. But I have honestly worked mostly in MNCs. So for me, what works best is hi Somi. Like I would prefer hi over dear any day, but of course it's not that big a deal. Then when you come to the actual content of the email, I think most of the emails have two things. One is providing the person with some context on what you are reaching out to that person for. And the second thing, what is the action that you need the other person to take, whoever you are writing that email to. What do you need from that person? So when I write an email, especially in a work environment, I come to the context very, very soon. For example, I write something like, hi, XYZ, hope you're doing well. I'm reaching out to you today because XYZ. And then I provide the context. Usually for me, the context is in a paragraph format, but if it is too much of information that you have to give to the person, then please use bullet points, because paragraphs are very difficult to read. But bullet points, and if there are something specific, keywords that you want to highlight or make it bold or underline it, it's a great thing to do, because then whenever the other person is browsing through the email, it can pick up the highlighted words and immediately know what you are reaching out to that person for. And the last thing which you want to mention is the action that is required from that person. So typically what I would do is one paragraph of context, and then I would write action requested from you, colon, and then a few bullet points on what are the actions needed. After the actions, in 1 or 2 lines, you can also mention what is the timeline for that action from the other person. Another best practice is, whenever you're writing email, don't use words like today, tomorrow, or if you have to use today, tomorrow, in bracket, always mention the date, because you don't know when the other person is going to read that email. You may say that tomorrow we have this meeting, and that person may be reading that email like 3 days later. And that's it. That's how you write an email. You have a punchy subject line, you have a greeting, then you provide some context and let the other person know what you are reaching out to him for, and then you summarize all the action items that you need the other person to take. I want to end this video by saying that in a work environment, it is always very good to write emails when you need something from someone, or when you want to get a sign off, or when you want to inform, rather than sort of going the non-digital way, because it serves two purposes. One is, when you have written an email, it is on record and there's proof that you have either asked someone else for some work, or if you have provided that information that you were supposed to over email to someone else, because people tend to forget things. And the second thing is, if you have a very well written email, it gives a reference point to whoever you are sending the email to. Jaise ki if my junior has sent me an email that I have to review his work, and if he has mentioned in the email exactly which are the things that I have to review, then it becomes very easy for me to refer to his email and take the action that is needed from me and reply back to him. It just makes things easy for me, for that person, and for everyone in general. And thirdly, it also helps you structure your own thoughts. So when you have a lot of things to say to another person, or when you have a lot of things that you need from the other person, things get jumbled up in your head. But when you are writing it down on an email, it gives you clarity of thought. So it's a win-win for everyone. Which is why I always put a lot of work into drafting emails. And if it's a long email and a lot of action items that's needed, then I always get in touch with them offline as well to check if he has understood everything that is there on the email, if he has any questions, if he will be able to meet the deadline, etc., etc. So that's going to be all for this video. It was a very short and sweet video, I feel, but hope you guys like it. And the next video on email etiquettes that I'm going to do is going to be on writing a good cold email. So stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, definitely give it a like. Please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me, and it will also help my channel grow a little. और जो बेल बटन होता है ना सब्सक्रिप्शन का, वो भी दबा देना. What will happen is, whenever I put out a new video, then you will get a notification immediately. That's about it. I'm going to see you in the next video. Till then, bye.